My name is Gat Puno Abundio Baet, fifth generation in the Garimot Arnis Training from Paete, Laguna. But growing up as a farmer is a little different than the boys in the city or in the town. You know, it's a lot more fun to be in the farm because you have a lot of experience that the boy in the city never experienced. A lot of things like we don't have TV, so we force ourselves to make some toys. So and most of the toys is sword, you know, play with swords, you know, using a wooden gun using wood. 1970, you know, I was exactly almost 7 years old, 6 years old. My grandfather picked me up and put me on the table, and he said, "Apo, oh grandson, maybe you're ready to train." And he took a walking cane and start tapping my feet. He said, "If I tap your feet, move that back. If I tap the other one, move that back." So that's what the start. And then he see that I'm very coordinated, you know, well coordinated on that exercise. And he said, when you see the stick, I want you to get offline so you won't get hit by the stick. And he said that I'm really getting it until his day is passing, you know. So when he died, I don't realize that he talked to my dad that you have to continue your son. This is your son that's gonna carry your arts. Wow. And that's what 7 years old, my dad took over the teaching. Come up from the side, this is going to be right away there. See, as soon as I drop, I place the stick where? Right on my belly, right? Because I have a big one. Gat is a combination of a lot of arts in Laguna area. I don't want to say it's in the Philippines because it's too broad. So I will talk only specifically right on where I am, which is I learned basically 12 different way of metodos. You know, it's just tres puntos, cinco teros, siete colores, doce pares, siete generales, harabas, laban tulisan, moro moro, 24/7, combate barnis. You know, then include that the kagayat. The kagayat is another system of 7, and then there's a comedia, so which is part of those. The differences of the Garimot to the other Filipino martial art. Most of the Filipino martial art I see, and this is based on my experience, is mid-range, close range fighting arts. There's only few I see that really dictate long range. Most of this largo mano they show is not the way we what they emphasize the largo. The largo is sometimes is to us is already no range, so that's not largo. If you cannot touch me, there's no such thing as fight. And us, when we call largo mano, it means I still can fight you, even I'm in the distance. You know, I'm not too far to hit you, but I am far for you to hit me. You know, this is always a bladed art, not a stick art. Stick art is just good to practice because we cannot be cut. That's why the naming conversion of all of this technique is based on the blade. Look, right there. You can take that. Hey. I came here in '86 as a seaman, working in the cruise line as a chef or artist, ice carver and slash head buffet man or pantryman. I brought the arts with me because everywhere I go, I brought the arts, but not knowing that I will be one day be teaching this in the U.S. Then, you know, I come up here, give me the opportunity to become executive chef of different hotel, open a restaurant that I don't even think that I can do it when I was in the Philippines. You know, this is my life. Then, one day I realized that the art will die with me, and one of my promise to the people that taught me in the Philippines, and I'm gonna keep the art alive, or the culture alive in my hometown. So I decide to open up the tournament again, support there's always a tournament, but I support the tournament financially because I cannot be there physically. You know, and then my wife and I met, and my wife and I decided to get married. Then I able to work in on land, and that's the time her cousin is also interested to learn martial art. So I show him a little bit, and he loves it. He organized a group to be my first group of Filipino martial art class. But later on, I demolished the group and look like they use my technique, to take advantage of those others that don't have skill. Then I met Inosanto in 1990, the first time, and I'm Grandmaster Bo Sayok of the Sayok Kali, and they encouraged me to start teaching Arnis. And so that's my vision is totally, the art is for me only. I'm not ready to share that to anybody. But when I met all of this personality in Filipino martial art, and that's the time I start opening the door to public. I went back and talked to the Miami Karate Academy if I can use their dojo to open up a class every Saturday and Sunday. And that's how I started Garimot Arnis in Miami, Florida. The technique is not really technique, it's a theory that you can create 1,000 of technique later. If you understand this. And then later on, I said, I have to give a little credit to my dad. So I took his fighting name Garimot, which is absorber, and put that, absorb every Arnis you have and train. That's what Garimot Arnis Training. That's what it means. I don't want to be called Grandmaster. So a classmate of my dad one time, he said, why don't you use the word Gat Puno? Because that's the old name for mayor in our town. It means the head of the town. And if you remember, the title of chieftain in our town is also Gat. Look, Jose Rizal is Gat, Andres Bonifacio is Gat. It means that's the leader. And you are the leader. You are the primary leader of this group that you're trying to create. And then when I see the Gat Puno, and I said, oh, perfect. I can acronym that to Garimot Arnis Training. And then Puno, it means head. So that's why I start using Gat Puno Abundio Garimot Baet. Right. When I was 9 years old, kids always play in the farm. And the branch of that tree broke on me, and I fall, and dislocating my wrist. My grandmother and my grandfather said they're both Hilot. So I learned it. I asked questions about Hilot, and they use different stuff, and they told me that, hey, why don't you learn it? Well, you're being healed. And I found out 4 aspects of Hilot that I have to learn. Then there's herbs based on it. That's what they call is herbolario. And then there's a liniment that part of it, which is using the, sometimes they call it saliva, or call it hilot buga. That's what they chew and they spit on you. Well, that's kind of gross. So what else the alternative on that? I said, use vinegar, because vinegar is like the same as saliva. All you need is acid. Or if you don't have acid, you have citrus. So that's a hilot buga. Then there's a hilot bentosa. Hilot bentosa is using the cupping, that's used for the all ligaments that's being pinched by muscle, or nerves that being pinched by a ligament. And then the last one of those is the albulario, which is part of the oracion and anting on it. The oracion, which is the prayer, and put it in the paper, burn it, or sometimes they use candle, or sometimes they use just smoke from the piece of coconut shell, and then they try to smoke you. We put it in the things and inspire. And then later on you can see, you are touched by a spirit. So I still learn those too, and I'm still learning of it because it's so deep. But that is the 4th type of Hilot right there. And I learned all of them. Number 5 is when I do the crossbow, I roll the muscle right on the bicep. Buno and Dumog is 2 different dialects. Buno is a Tagalog dialect, and Dumog is a Visayan dialect. So right there is already as it seems like the same, because it's only a differences of dialect, right? But when I see that Dumog, that what I see only, I'm not claiming that I know Dumog, because it's so hard to talk about martial art that you don't know, or you don't have any idea. You see it, and most of them I see is using stick in the beginning. And nowadays, Dumog is like grappling. They copy from whatever martial art they expose with. Especially now, the MMA is common. People question me, what is Buno? There's no wrestling in the Philippines. Yeah, they do. We have Gabo in Ilocos. We have the Bangkalan in Ifugao, you know. So why we don't have wrestling in the Philippines? The only difference is my dad learned it from the Aitas of Quezon, and also learned it from the Mangyan of Mindoro. And then he put a flavor of the all interlocking of the Arnis in it and Eskrima. So it became a complete art because the art itself is really for the animal, to wrestle the animal. You know, when they go to set a trap, they cannot kill the animal because they're gonna walk 2 hours to 3 hours or sometimes longer. You know, when they hunt and you kill the animal, by the time you get to the tribe, what happened to the animal? It's dead. And you know, within 8 hours, the blood of the animal would really rot. So it's just a waste. So the subject is need to be alive, bring it to the tribe so they can use it. That's what the art is, to wrestle the animal. That's why the art that I teach is based in everything is animal move. The good hunter, which two animal that's a good hunter out there? Tiger. And the other one is monkey. You know, they're very sneaky, they're very, vicious. At the same time, they're smart. So they call it Harimaw in the beginning because they represent the strength of the tiger. And people, when I first teaching this, they said, there's no such thing of Harimaw in the Philippines. You gotta remember, Philippines is consisted of many migration. Indonesian, Malaysian, Bruneians, you know. Before even Spanish came around, there's an Indian. And the Indian is known for what? The Bengal. You see that? The Bengal tiger came from India. And then you are questioning me about there's no such thing as tiger in the Philippines. But these people that comes before us has tiger on their whole life. They brought tiger with them when they come to the Philippines. I don't know. But the only thing, the closest word I can think of is the monster that they call Halimaw. You know, so that's Halimaw. I asked that to my dad. My dad didn't even know. So when people ask me, said, oh, you copied that from Indonesia. And I said, no, not me, because I'm not who created them. My dad is created them. I'm just following order. You teach them, you tell them the credit. Who teach it and what they call it. Why I have to change it? Because people say that I copy it from Indonesia, then I'm going to change it? No, I don't change it. Only the art, I change it. I call it Buno. Why? Because I like to represent the Tagalog part of it. You know, because if I call it Gabo, which is the Ilocos, if I call it Bengalan, it is going to be the Ilocos part. You know, so I said, what would be the nice name to call my wrestling? Because there's not such thing as wrestling art in the Philippines, you know, only that, you know, the native arts. You know, there's no, I don't see any master that can teach me the ground fight. Only that particular arts, Mangyan and Aitas. So I said, okay. My dad said it's Harimaw, then it's kind of Harimaw. Nothing we can do with it. So I put only Buno at the end, so the people will understand the Buno. And you know, I don't want that to be misinterpreted that, oh, Harimaw silat, because I run into somebody that they call my movement silat. And how do I know? I never practice silat. So I just said to them, no, I don't correct them. I just said, we call that in the Philippines, Buno.
Real sergeant. Real sergeant. I go a level of pain.
All right, if I'm going to look at it, Philippine martial art here in America, it's become a commercialized. It's a business. You know, that people can walk in, and if you don't have money, a lot of them cannot learn. You know, which is in the Philippines, it's about transfer to trusted people. You know, if you are trustworthy, even you don't have money, they will force you to learn it. They will even come to you and say, would you like to learn Arnis? Would you like to learn things? Or you are going to beg for it and you're going to prove yourself in order for you to learn. You don't need to have money to learn Arnis in my town. When I was training to the 12 maestro, I used to bring them vegetables that I got from the farm. Or sometimes, you know, I love to raise hens and rooster, and I would bring them good rooster And sometimes he just cook food just to be taught Arnis. 1978, my first tournament. I was 15, and my maestro said, "You're gonna tell them you are 16 because they're not accepting 15 years old." And my first opponent, I remember that because he's 37 years old. I beat the guy, but you know what? I didn't allow to tell anybody that whose name do I beat it, because it's a gentleman's game. You still respect the scrimador. And as past 7 years pass, I beat so many people, but I never tell who I beat. You know, I'm not allowed. And up to this day, even you force me, even you pay me $1,000 each of those I beat, you know, I would never tell you who they are, because out of respect to all of those scrimador. And that's the spirit of Filipino martial art in the Philippines. Here in America, competition. Everybody over here is like, okay, it's mine, it's mine, it's mine. The things that I could tell is most Filipino martial art now is totally different Filipino martial art before. Before, you only see very few system. You know, we are really, you can tell who's who in Filipino martial art then. Besides, they don't have social media at that time. But now, a lot now, they're claiming that they're grandmaster. A lot of them claiming that they're undefeated. Why? Because they never fought. So they're undefeated. Yet, they're grandmaster because they believe they are grandmaster. But to me, grandmaster is no really meaning until you show your skill. Skill tell the truth. And that's what my view on the Filipino martial art here in America and here and there in the Philippines. But I remember one day my dad said, if you ever decide to teach, don't teach the wrong one, teach the right one. And if they cannot learn the right one, don't teach it at all, because you're just giving them a false confidence. They will die instead of living. Why? Because the art's supposed to be saving lives.
Because anytime he throw a punch coming in, I use those, pick it up here, disarm it together. Look at this. Look at the both hands. It's locked both hands. And I get this.
When you want to study under us, please message us. You know, don't ask for other people that don't know us. You know, just go directly to us. If you have any question or misinterpret one of my posts or misinterpret our video, you can come directly to us and ask question. No, no negative, because I like all Filipino martial art to be one. You know, one art, one love. It's the same way. You know, I'm openly misunderstood. Why? Because of my English. I'm very direct. You know, I'm not, because I translate the English into Tagalog first before I talk in English. You know, so those of you that speak English and misunderstood my English, I'm sorry. But those of you that are Tagalog and speak English, you understand me, because we are the same before. You just probably get better now.